one thing that I really like to teach in my Get Visible method is just going live and allowing yourself to show up authentically with your audience. There's a different expectation, and I hope you all can agree with this. But there's a different expectation when you're going live versus when something is pre-recorded. You have that ability to polish and refine and edit, and so the expectation's a little higher, and so I find I love going live because, you know, hopefully you expect authenticity. You should expect that it is in the moment, that it's not edited. So yeah, so I'd love if you can just confirm that in the comments too for all those that have beautiful wisdom to share, and maybe they feel reluctant. They feel that, "Oh, someone's gonna judge me," or, "What are they gonna think of me?" Like, y allowing yourself to just show up authentically as you are, and, actually, I did not I did not say that intentionally because of this card, that was just what was coming up for me today too, to say to you, but today's quote today's quote is, "Don't be afraid to stand for what you believe in, even if that means standing alone." And I definitely think this pertains so much to how we show up as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a thought leader, whatever it may be. Like, when we show up, we need to stand in our beliefs. And, these quotes, I've talked about, it's decoding these. So, I don't 100% believe with this quote says, but yet I do. So there's truth and there's untruth, because I believe that if you take on the energy of, I am going to stand up for my belief no matter what, even if I do have to stand alone, but to also know deep within and fully with your heart that we are in a world now that is connected. The book, The World is Flat. It really truly is now. Not I'm not one of those flat world believers, though. I mean, from a connected standpoint, just wanted to specify that. Um, but we do have so much community available to us now, so your people will come to you, and you have to truly believe that your people are out there, that there are people that need to hear your message, and I will say I've heard messages before online from people that were admired by others, and I would hear their message, and I was like, "I don't 100% agree with that, but I'm gonna continue to listen because I still wanna hear that other perspective." So, you may have people viewing that agree with you. You may have people that don't agree with you, and you have to be okay for standing up for what you believe and not being a people pleaser. That was a really hard thing for me to overcome, and I truly believe this quote there's so much more deeper meaning to talk about, such as people pleasing and imposter syndrome and showing up as your authentic self. Because, like, I posted uh, it wasn't intended to be an engagement post, it was posting a thought, because I was really truly, like, thrown back by how girls were dressing when I was picking up my daughter, my child, from high school, and I was taken aback, because it was just so, um, not displeasing, and it was more of a shock because it was so different from what we were taught in high school, but also you could feel the energy, and I'm definitely an energy feeler, that I could feel this energy of, like, rebellion, and it was this energy of, like, trying to get attention in the wrong way, and I won't go too much into it, but I had to stand by my belief. I could have easily been like, "Oh my gosh, people don't agree with me," because I had a lot of people that were like, I think you're being this way, and I think, this, and they were contradicting what I had said, but at the same time, they weren't because it wasn't that I disagreed with them. And everything that they were saying was also beautiful. And I saw their point and I was like, "You're right." Because every single one of us was right. We all had our own opinion. And there is nothing wrong with our opinions. And I wanted to validate that through those posts. And there were some beautiful perspectives that, I hadn't thought about. And there were beautiful perspectives that when I made that comment, it wasn't in any way to be sexist. It wasn't in any way to put down these girls. It wasn't any way to take away their rights. It wasn't in any way to do fear mongering. It was literally my belief that I don't think, and I expressed, I was like, I don't think school is the setting to dress that way. And I'm using that as an example because that's a recent front of mind. But when we get into these deeper beliefs, like we have to be able to express ourselves. And again, I could have just taken that off, but it turned into this beautiful conversation. And it got me thinking more. I'm like, gosh, we need to have more of these conversations so that it provides this opportunity for all these perspectives to come together in a respectful way, for us to not attack, but go, well, tell me more about your thought. And this is my thought and my perspective, and not in a way to try to change someone's mind, but in a way to say, I'm offering up my perspective, I'm offering up my beliefs. So today's quote is, "Don't be afraid to stand for what you believe in, even if it means standing alone." So I don't think that you will ever stand alone in your beliefs. But this quote was also probably made in a time where there wasn't social media, because it's fairly recent. But now we live in this world of this metaverse. And in this metaverse, it is so, so easy to collect the people that believe in a common belief. Now, in some ways, that can be really scary, but we have to stand up and use it for good because there is the ability to use it for good. There was a beautiful article that I had read years ago. I actually presented it in front of my yoga class because, yes, I am that teacher. It was like, we're going to sit in our meditative seat for a moment and explore a quote and infuse that lesson, not just a quote, but a lesson into our practice for the day. And it was talking about why does it often seem in our world that evil and evil doings, and I don't use that in a religious way, but more of an uh, negativity. Why is it that all this negativity was rising to the top at the time? And it was gaining so much traction, and why is there so much fuel behind these negative beliefs and negative missions? And it's because it's, one, fueled by anger, and anger is a powerful emotion and energy. And we can have anger and use it in a positive way. It does not always have to be negative. Nothing is good or bad, it's all relative. And when we're using that to fuel, someone gathers followers and leaders. And often it's those who are doing good that try to stay very passive. And it also recalled for me a time when I was taking on a new job at a large company, and they had 2 words out of all of these aspects that they did not value or they didn't want to emphasize, and that was power and peace. I thought it was really interesting because they had put power as this negative word, and they had put peace as this negative word, and I was like, "Wow," like, peace activists can be fueled by anger, by justice, and anger for justice, and that can be a beautiful thing, but we have to be careful with the emotion of anger because it can often switch into this power play or revenge. But also owning our power and empowerment. So no word No aspect, no emotion is good or bad all the time. And I always say, be careful of these words, never and always and just. Like, these words can turn toxic. And so, really, who controls how those words and emotions turn are us. So, the only person that we truly have control over in our lives is ourselves. We cannot change anyone. We should never go into a relationship expecting that we can change someone, even as a therapist. Do not go into it thinking I'm going to change someone. We go into it setting an example. We go into it having the ability to facilitate, to hold space. We go into it even as a hypnotherapist. Yes, my goal is to change their mind, but they have to be fully in it. And my goal is to guide them into that change, not to change them. So we have to be very careful about where our energy goes because our energy is the only energy that we can truly transform. And we can put out the well wishes and we can send the good energy, but that comes from us. And I highly recommend, we are in a world where there's a lot of negativity going on at the moment in our world. And collectively, we are all responsible. We're responsible for our own energy. And that is something I'm getting ready to sit down after this and sit and send my beautiful well wishes to all the people in the world that are suffering right now with all the wars that are going on. And we can send positive energy. And if that energy is accepted, it can provide strength. It can provide a container. It can provide, a feeling, but it is their choice to do something with it. But I do believe that we can have influence, but it comes from us. So the action that I can take is not going there and trying to stop a war, right? Probably wouldn't go very well. But what I can do is I can sit my butt on my meditation cushion, and I can open my Gohanzan, and I can begin chanting and sending well wishes and peace and love, because collectively, we do all have to hold that space. But again, it starts with each one of us sitting and holding a space of love. And if we are struggling ourselves to hold a space of love for ourselves, if we are struggling to stay true in our own beliefs, how are we supposed to hold space for others? So today's mission is, sit down and hold that space for yourself. Really begin to root yourself in your own beliefs and your own values. Because again, as a therapist, I will tell you the biggest, I cannot say this enough, the biggest issue that I see come up with any person is that they are not in alignment with their values, with their beliefs. That they believe one thing, they think another. Their conscious mind is saying this, and their unconscious mind is having this other behavior, or their actions are having another behavior. And so to bring ourselves into alignment is truly important. Now, for those of you that want to do more of this inner work, I'll invite you over to my Facebook group, Warrior Goddess Wisdom Circle, where we'll have more of these conversations. And next week, we will be doing, and I'll be doing this monthly going forward, but we will be doing our Warrior Goddess Foundations. And although it sounds like it's very much for women, and it very much is, it is tailored towards women. It does not mean that men are not welcome. So we open up and we hold this space and we hold a container. And I would never claim to be perfect. I am always working on my own inner journey. And even the highest of gurus and mentors and, whatever those titles might be, you're always forever doing inner work. Even when we, perceivedly accomplish enlightenment, because I believe enlightenment is different things. Um, we can even achieve a high level. There's always still more work to do because we are human. have a brain, we have a conscious, and we have an unconscious, and we have emotions, and we have responses, and we have triggers. So every day must be a practice. And I'll just say one more thing before we go today is, if you take a shower every day, if you brush your teeth every day, that you should be cleansing your energy every day, cleansing your mind every day. So even if it's taking, sometimes we take that 2 or 5 minute shower, you can take a 2 or 5 minute cleansing of just breathing, releasing the attachments, collecting yourself back in, setting an intention, and that can just be one word for the day. And then finding a way to set reminders. That might be a bell, it might be an alarm, it might be something, but to take the time to pause throughout the day and have that sacred pause as well. All right, so I'm Izzy Nally. Thank you for joining me on Decoding Wisdom, day 11. And our quote today was, "Don't be afraid to stand for what you believe in, even if that means standing alone." And this is by Andy Biersack. We'll continue to explore these quotes and how we can apply in those deeper meetings. I have a stack full of quotes that we'll be going through. So we should, I think there's about 50 total of these. So we'll be busy for a while, and maybe I'll find some additional stacks of quotes. If you have any good stacks of quotes or sources of quotes, I'd love for you to send those to me. We can explore those, and in the future, I'm happy to have people come on with me and to discuss these quotes and what they mean to them too. So if you feel that you have some wisdom to share, do not hesitate to reach out to me, and let's talk. All right. So thank you for joining. I'll see you later.